Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network, as we bring you Football Friday for week number 7, as we roll along in the month of October. And before you know it, we'll be talking Thanksgiving and Turkey Day games. We talked about right after that Lion Kansas City game about how important that win was. What a big pivotal win that was for the Chiefs. It really is remarkable how much that win changed people's ideas. Perfect example. Now we know the NFL is wide open this year, probably more wide open. Two things I'd say as we hit week 7. Number one, the league is more wide open than I can ever remember. There's not a great team in the league. There's not a lot to separate the teams in the league. And you have some teams that you thought were going to be Super Bowl contenders that are either done or really seriously challenged by injuries. The injury bug has been unbelievable. It's always a war of attrition in the NFL, but the injury bug has been incredible. But that win so impressed people that this week they made the Chiefs the favorite to get to the Super Bowl right now. I mean that's remarkable. 3-3, and they were made the favorites because they say, "Hey, Andy Reid, Mahomes, blah blah blah. They've been there, they've done that." But it also shows you how big the game was taken, and they were good in the second half. The idea that the Chiefs regained respect. Now, Worthy also didn't suffer a serious injury, which they feared, and number 2, Rice is back this week. So those two things, coupled with the typical Kansas City things you think about, and you can see the Chiefs vaulted themselves right back into the picture. Now, there's 3 storylines in week 7, 3 dominant storylines. Number 1, the return of the regaining of respect by the Chiefs was number 1. Number 2, the emergence of the Pats May as a legitimate star player in this league. The Pats are now in first place. It looks like they've come full circle already in year 1 of the Vrabel. And May has become a legitimate top of the league quarterback, 10 touchdowns, 2 intercepts. And he has, in my mind, made the biggest stride this year from where he was to stardom. The guy in the league who has done the most. And it's been a very big year for Baker. It's been a very big year for Sam Darnold. But the guy who has done it to the largest degree this year is May. And then number 3, how the mighty have fallen. The Eagles, the Bills, the Ravens. Now, say those 3 names again. The Eagles, defending champs, opened 4-0. The Bills, okay, this is going to be the year. The Ravens, obviously incredibly crippled by injuries. Do you know that those 3 teams, Bills, Ravens, Eagles, if you look at them, the trio has lost its last 8 NFL starts combined. Think about that. The Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, the Bills, and the Eagles have lost their last 8. The Bills have lost 2 in a row, the Eagles have lost 2 in a row, and the Ravens have lost 4 in a row. The Bills have a bye this week, and they look terrible the last 2 weeks. I mean, that didn't even look like Josh Allen the other night in Atlanta. And the Ravens mercifully have a bye this week, and they say next week that their star quarterback will be ready, Lamar will be ready to play, and that he won't be hampered by the hamstring. But Lamar and no Lamar. And obviously they need Lamar. They're like 4-12 in their last 16 starts without him. But they are so decimated by injuries on both sides of the ball. I don't think they can get it going this year. I think their season's over. You know, the last 4 losses, last 4 games, the Ravens have allowed 136 points. They've lost 17-3, 44-10, 37-20, and 38-30. I mean, they aren't even a shell of themselves. And Josh Allen's QBR rating is 13th. Now, I'm not an end-all, be-all guy on quarterback ratings. I don't like numbers on players. And with quarterbacks, there's only one number you look at, and that's the one-loss record. And right now, you look at that, and it's Daniel Jones, who is 5-1. He also has the highest QBR rating, though, if you want to know the truth. Um, but think about it. The Bills, where are they right now? The Eagles, where are they right now? The Ravens, probably dead. Chargers, bashed by injuries. They won last week in the last second against Miami, but they are not a good team right now. They're on their third string running back. They've lost 4 offensive linemen. They've lost their best pass rushers. So they have been decimated by injuries. Injuries have just absolutely destroyed teams in this league this year. It's just been a very, very different year. So you could not have a more wide open NFL than you have right now. There aren't a lot of really good teams, no less a great team, and there's no dominant teams. Now, another game in London, it's like an every week thing now. Rams 4-2, who should be 6-0. Jaguars 4-2, who lost last week to Seattle. Make sure Nicole is playing. He did dodge the bullet with the ankle injury, but they were very cryptic about whether he would play this week. Check that out. Jacksonville defense, we've talked about that before. I think this is a very tough spot for the Jags. Their offense is still very inconsistent. It has to get more consistent. I think the Rams win this game in London. Now, Panthers and the Jets. I went on after the game and I really went hard at Aaron Glenn, and I didn't like doing that in his first year. But let's be honest, you have to expect some competency from your head coach, some competency from the coaching staff, and you're getting none right now. And he heard this everywhere this week, absolutely everywhere. Panthers are 3-3. They come off the big win against the Cowboys. The Jets need a win. They don't have Wilson this week. There are a lot of rumors about Breece Hall being traded, which they're denying up and down, which means they're probably true. This team has no idea offensively. And as I stated last week, if you listen to the podcast after the Jet game, if they had put Taylor in the game last week, I firmly believe they would have won. And a lot of people in the locker room, I guess, felt the same way. It's going to be a very long season for the Jets. And I'm sure unless things get to just a ludicrous level, and they're pretty much there, I think this coaching staff will get another spin of the dice. But they'll obviously be drafting a quarterback. And that's why be holding to Fields if you're going to be drafting a franchise quarterback at the end of the season anyway? So the Panthers moving in the right direction. The Jets, no direction home right now. They don't have a direction. Saints at the Bears. The Bears got a gift. They got an absolute gift on Monday night. I mean, that game should have been over. I mean, the Redskins had that magic. The Redskins. Oh, I know the Redskins. To me, they're always the Redskins. Washington had that magic last year. This year, there's no magic. They gave that game away. That fumble killed them. Bears, they're not great, but they're starting to learn how to win. And that's the first step. They get a chance to go to 4-2 here against the Saints. They should be able to do that. I mean, there's no reason not to. They're headed in the right direction, and 4-2 is going to be treated very, very well in Chicago. The Dolphins are 1-5, and Tua had to apologize. Now, all right, listen. Real leadership, you go and you handle a problem like a guy's not attending meetings, which is what Tua said after the game. You go and handle it yourself. That's what a leader does on a football team. Doesn't go take it to the media. Tua had to apologize because he kind of threw everybody on the team under the bus. Doesn't matter. They're not any good. The coaches lost the room. And let's see if they start trading players. And I can see Waddle coming to the Giants. Giants are looking for a wide receiver to help Dot out. I could see Waddle being a guy. He could definitely be the guy. Browns are 1-5. They've played They haven't played well. They've been bad offensively. They're good offense. They're good defensively. Let's be honest. They're well coached. They got some really top players, but their offense is a bunch of kids, and it's going to take a while. They could win this game though. Pats are 4-2, and said last week win the game, and they did. Same thing when they go to the Titans. This is a game with a storyline. Vrabel going home. He says he doesn't care. Uh, Titans now have a new head coach with McCoy taking over. And the Pats want to prove they're back. Right now, they're in first place. They can stay in first place and go to 5-2. You know what? Pats, with the schedule they have and with the quarterback playing that way and Vrabel laying down what he wants to lay down in New England, I think the Pats are going back to the playoffs. The Raiders are 2-4, and the Chiefs, who have faced a very hard schedule, are 3-3. Chiefs coming off that win, and they own the Raiders. And when they didn't own the Raiders last year, the officials, I know the Kansas City official thing is a big story this week. Not one I want to get into. Because you know what? Do I think they've gotten some breaks from officials? Yes. Do I think it's something that they did on purpose? No. I just think they have gotten some breaks from officials. The Raiders are bad. And the biggest problem is they went out and they drafted a running back to feature. And when you draft a running back in the top 10 in the NFL these days, first of all, drafting one in the first round is a no-no. They drafted one in the top 10. When you do that, you feature them, okay? I've watched Genty a lot this year, and I'm going on my way to watch him. Number one, I have him on the fantasy team the family fantasy thing we have. They have no offensive line. Zero. They don't know how to use Genty in the passing game, and they have this guy gets hit in the backfield on at least 50% of his runs. If he had a good offensive line, this kid would have at least double the yardage he has right now. This is not going to be a game for him to do well. He's not going to run the ball well against the Chiefs. Geno Smith's having a nightmare. They don't have Bowers. He's out. Rice comes back. Now you have Rice and Worthy. Chiefs head in the right direction. Chiefs don't blow out a lot of teams. I wouldn't be surprised if they blew out the Raiders here. Eagles and Vikes. Watch the Viking quarterback situation. I think it's going to be Wentz, though, even though he's banged up. Eagles, number one, I believe they're going to trade Brown before the trade deadline. Number two, they have got to strengthen the running game. Everything will work for them, and the Eagles aren't dead, but everything will work for them if they can do it off the running game. The running game will open up the passing game for them. The problem is their offensive line is not what it once was. You got injuries there. If you look, Barkley's not having a huge year. The Chiefs, listen, the Eagles had won a lot of games in a row. They've done a lot of winning. It's hard to win back-to-back years. I don't think this team will disintegrate, but I don't think it's a Super Bowl team. The Giants are 2-4, and the Broncos are 4-2, and I did not think we'd be sitting here excited about watching the Giants play in Denver, but I have to admit I am. Denver's defense, which is very good, matching up against the super rookies or whatever you want to call them, okay? Hey, Dart and Scatterboo have energized the team. And almost as important is the fact that last week I actually saw Dable be creative for the first time in a long time with what he did with the passing offense. And that's what's been lacking. They have shown no creativity, no spark. But clearly Dart has given them a huge spark. Denver, it was 60% offensive ineptitude, 40% Sean saying, Jets can't beat me with their offense, so I'm not doing anything offensively the rest of this game. Listen, a lot of people are getting on the Giant bandwagon. I'm even hearing people say they're going to have a winning season and make the playoffs. Not against the schedule. You're out of your mind. I mean, they're 2-4. They play at Denver, at Philly, the Niners, at Chicago, which has a winning record, and then the Packers in Detroit. Give me a break. How many of those are they supposed to win? If they split the next 2 games, I will look at them a little differently. But they have to split. Listen, I am having as much fun as everybody else. First of all, I came into the season. I came in when you heard me preview the draft. I talked about 2 players. I always like to pick out a player. I told you about 2 players that I wanted. Last year was Bowers. This year it was Warren and Scatterbo. I told you how much I love Scatterbo. All right. I told you he was a steal in the 4th round and that he was going to be really something, could be something really fun with the Giants. It's happened even quicker than I thought it would. I didn't know what to expect from Dart. And I'll tell you, um, Dart has given the entire team, the entire franchise, tremendous, tremendous energy and a hope that they haven't had in a really long time. If they could win one of these next 2 at Denver, at Philly, I would be incredibly impressed, and I'd look at them a little differently. I think the schedule is just too hard. I think this is a very tough game for the kids to win. You know that? Who are you going to designate as your one receiver? Because Surtain's going to take away anybody he wants to take away. So who are you sacrificing to him? I mean, so the bottom line is, I think this is going to be a very hard game for Dart. Very hard. He's going to be under pressure. He's going to take a lot of hits. He could turn the ball over very easily. This defense is very, very good. But there's no denying that Dart and Scatterbo and the better play of the offensive line and the emergence of the tight ends as weapons and some of the other receivers as weapons, I think it can save Dable's job. As a matter of fact, you're starting to see a little continuity with the Giants, with ownership and with Dable, and I think it's clearly moving towards it could be a no-brainer. Now, if I could have a wish, I would wish that they would win. They'd run the table because you saw John Mara say in the locker room last week that this was the best medicine he could ever get. He's going through chemo and radiation, fighting cancer. Clearly, it's an emotional thing inside the Giants. And the idea, if they could give him some winning game balls, it would be a great uplifting thing for him. The team is his life. So, I mean, if I could give you one thing, I would pray for them to run the table. But let's be realistic. Dart and Scatterbo have really put a smile on his face and on Giant fans' faces everywhere. And that's a good thing. Colts 5-1 at the Chargers 4-2. How we all say the same thing all the time. This is what the NFL is saying. How good are the Chargers? How good are the Colts? Do we know yet? No, but we know this. Daniel Jones is playing confidently. We know this. They have a great running back. We know this. They have a rookie tight end who's going to be all world. We know this. The team is playing with a spark, with a verve that nobody expected. They're 5-1. Chargers are 4-2. Right now, the Colts are the better team. Chargers were all out to beat the Dolphins. They have so many holes left by the injuries. Let's see what happens. I don't know how good the Colts are yet, but they're 5-1, and a couple more weeks of this, and they're going to be headed to the postseason. That we do know. Taylor, Warren, Jones, they're playing good football. Commanders and the Cowboys. Again, last week I told you that I thought that Carolina Cowboys would be a shootout. Most weeks, the Cowboys are going to be a shootout. Number one, Dak is playing very well. He's passing and playing the position about as well as anybody in the league. Two, they're getting a lot out of Pickens. Three, they've had so many injuries to the offensive line, but they're getting the job done. But their defense is a sieve. Washington will move it They should be healthier this week, and they'll move it at will. I think this is a shootout again. I think that's what it is. Packers 3-1 against the Cards. Cards all banged up. Check the quarterback situation. Check the running back situation. Okay. Now, Packers, they're growing. They have all the ingredients, but they let teams back in games. They let Cleveland back in to win the game. They gave up 40 points to the Cowboys. There's a lot of immaturity in the Packers, but everything's there. Let's see where it's headed. Falcons come off biggest win they've had in a long time. Long time. And Robinson played brilliantly. They're 3-2. The Niners are 4-2. No Purdy. Back to Jones. And Jones has got injuries. Kittle comes back. This Sunday night, I don't know if I say Atlanta with their defense playing very well is the better team, but the efficiency of the San Francisco offense is way ahead of where the Atlanta offense is. Pence is not there yet by any stretch of the imagination, but he does have weapons. He's got a great running back. He's got a big-time receiver in London. I think it's a very interesting game. I don't trust Atlanta on the road, but it's an interesting game. Bucks and Lions Monday night. The Bucks are all banged up. Baker Mayfield's been brilliant. It's amazing they're 5-1. Now Igbokwe's been amazing as a rookie tight end. I mean, a rookie wide receiver, but he's hurt this week. They're banged up at wide receiver. They're healthy. They're getting healthier now, though, in other spots. Lions coming off a rough loss, but I think Lions have too much firepower. They'll set up the run, and then they'll run all their other stuff off the run. I think the Lions will be in a bad mood. I think the Bucks at 5-1 can afford a loss. I'm not saying they won't give you what they have. They will, but they're not in must-win situation here. It's one of the two Monday night games. I think the Lions win, and I think they probably win going away. Texans at Seattle, very interesting game. Texans been nowhere with this offense. They're a good defense. They've been nowhere with the offense. Seattle, Sam Darnold's playing like a top 5 quarterback. Absolutely. And Smith Najaba has become one of the top wide receivers in the league. Week after week after 42 catches, 16 in pop for the season. 42 catches already. Darnold, 11 touchdowns, 3 intercepts, playing like a top player. This is the Monday night for the comeback quarterbacks, for Baker, for Sam, guys who so much was expected from, who disappointed bitterly, whose careers were in shambles, and now have had great reemergence. One's playing the Lions, the other one's playing the Texans, and they're the two Monday night games, so they'll both be interesting. As I said, this league right now is absolutely 100% wide open. I mean, when you look at it, you got some teams that are going to have an easy trip to the playoffs this year, but it's not some of the teams that we expected to have that. We all thought Buffalo would have that. They're not even in first place. New England's in first place. All right, by the fact that they won a tiebreaker, but they're both 4-2. Chargers, Denver 4-2, Kansas City 3-3. So that race is that tight. But the Chargers are not going to get to full strength. They can't. Pittsburgh is in a great spot. A great spot. They're going to have a very easy run to the playoffs. And with their defense, especially in cold weather, and with a quarterback like Rodgers, they could be a dangerous team, especially if some of the games have to go through Pittsburgh. Indianapolis, Jacksonville. If Houston, that's why Houston needs to keep pace. Houston can't go to 2-4 because they're chasing Jacksonville, they're chasing Indianapolis. If Indianapolis goes to 6-1 this week, Houston's in trouble. wide open. Now, when you look at it and you see that the Ravens are 1-5, they have a bye this week. They're getting the quarterback back, but they're not going to get healthy. What's it going to take to get to the playoffs? 11 wins? 10 wins? At least 10. They have to almost run the table. I just don't think it's happening for them this year. I think that, it's just a year that just came absolutely apart. So when you look at it, Buffalo is not what you expected. Cincinnati has collapsed because of the loss of Burrow. The Ravens have been weighted down by bad play, and losing that first game to Buffalo was telling. And now they're a long shot to even have a winning record this year. But you have an emergence from Pittsburgh, emergence from Indianapolis. Now in the NFC, the Eagles aren't what we thought. Were they going to have another big year? They have a one-game lead, but right now, that division's 2 games separates the entire division. Let's see where it is next week. San Francisco, Seattle, the Rams. I think the Rams are the best team there. They should be 6-0. If they clean up their kicking stuff, they're 6-0. Green Bay, Detroit, I think they're both going to the playoffs. Tampa is going to win that division, but Atlanta, that's the other team. Carolina's improved. So you have wide open NFL. Is there a great team? No. Is there a team with a winning history, a winning culture? Yes. You have a big one. The Eagles have a good winning culture. The Kansas City has a brilliant winning culture. You can never count the Chiefs out, not as long as Mahomes is behind center. Are they the same team? No. Chris Jones is not the same player he was. Kelsey's not the same player. They're not the same players anymore. I don't expect Chris Jones to dog it like he did against Jacksonville on the last play. He hadn't given any effort this year. I don't know what's left in the tank. He's a Hall of Fame player, but hasn't been a shell of himself this year. Kelsey can give you some fights sometimes, but not the same player. Guys get old. Guys get satisfied. And Kelsey could even be considered to be someone who might have some other things on his mind. So things change. But it is stunning because it looked early on like the Bills were going to have a big year. It looked early on like the Ravens could be the team to beat in the AFC. And Cincinnati, everyone thought maybe they would be resurgent this year with Burrow. And those teams aren't even a part of this anymore. Buffalo's still there, but it's going to be anything for easy for them. And they have not looked good the last couple of weeks. Let's be honest. If you look at the teams they beat this year, they've only beaten bad teams. And they have Kansas City coming up in 2 more weeks. I think it's let me look. I think it's week 9. Might be week 8, but they play I think week 9. Let me see if it's week 9. Yep. Week 9. Chiefs at Bills. That's a biggie. In 2 weeks, Chiefs 9. Chiefs Bills. That will be another one of these telling evenings. There's a lot of trade rumors and this and that. You don't get that many pivotal trades. I know the Giants are trying to get a wide receiver. I think Waddle might be the guy. There's a lot of I think he would be a good fit. I think he would be productive. I really do. But let's see what happens. Let's see where we go from here. Now, Bet Rivers Football Squares. Players who place a qualifying same-game parlay of at least $10 on eligible NFL and NCAA football games will receive one standard entry into the weekly square game. Winning standard squares will be awarded a prize of a $20 bonus bet. See app and website for more details. We'll see you later.